What is up? What is up, everybody? It's Big Cheds in the house. Today is, what's it, Saturday? Saturday, July 10th, 2021. I definitely want to say thank you. I appreciate you joining tonight to watch the show, joining me for some fun. I do not stream often. I do not do these often at all. It's been a long time, in fact, but I thought it might be a fun thing to do here. So we can just jump right into the action. If you are not, following me at all, definitely I am on Twitter, of course. I'm at Big Cheds, so you can find me there. I'm at Big Cheds. I did just publish a trading book. It's called Trading Wisdom: 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. Let's see. Think about it. It's like trading psychology. It's got the basic technicals, technical analysis, classical charting, Japanese candlesticks. And I took all of my writings, I took all of my experience, all my learning, and then everything throughout the years, and I tried to blended it together, and tried to figure out what was important for you to know as a trader, what was important for you to help you, hopefully not have to go through all the mistakes that I went through. And the book has had a nice reception. So you can get it on Amazon, but I do have a free version of the book. I'm doing one lesson at a time. So it's 50 lessons. There's going to be 50 videos, and I will do them one at a time. I actually have another one coming out in a few days. So check that out. Of course, please do subscribe, as everyone says. They say, please, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. So definitely thank you for doing that, and please do that. I also, just one more thing, I did publish a book before this, My Battles with Cancer, Patient and Caregiver's Candid Memoir. I am a cancer survivor. I had lymphoma, and my mother had cancer, and I helped take care of her. So if you know anyone who's dealing with cancer, suffering from it, or as a loved one, I'd be more than happy to just email you the book. I'll send you the book. Find a way to get me your email address, and I'll just send you the book. If that helps you, please do let me know. If you're interested in really learning how to trade, I am a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live, the best-in-class educational platform for crypto. I've been doing that now for several years. I'm very proud of that. I know some of you are watching the stream, so I definitely appreciate you, being a member. And so, feel free to check that out. So what's going on? So tonight we're going to look at, like I said, I don't really do these, but I enjoy talking to you. So we're going to have some fun. I'm going to look at like major cryptos, and then I definitely want to answer your questions. I want to see kind of what's going on. So I just did that opening spiel. I'm going to look at the chat room a little bit and just see what's going on. So, hey, Gene, Habaro, Paul, a bunch of folks in there. What's up, Nick and Jeff? Khalid, Khalid loved the book. Thank you. Hello, everyone. So get your, don't do it yet, but I will be asking you for chart requests. I'll just kind of give you where I think I am at the market. I know some of you have kind of wondered why, you see my tweets, maybe kind of wonder why I feel the way I do. And so, I'll kind of walk you through that. So we're looking at Bitcoin. We'll go in the daily chart. The daily candle closes in about an hour and a half. So here's how I look at things. So you have this big blue line. All right. The big blue line is the 200 period simple moving average. This right there, MA 200. There's two types of moving averages, or two main types rather. There's a simple moving average, which is the blue line, is an example of one. And then you have, let's just kind of clean it up a little bit so I can make my point. So then you have, say, this green line, right? That's an 8 EMA, an exponential moving average. Like, what's the difference? So a simple moving average just means every single one of those periods has an equal weighting, right? All 200 of those periods have the same weighting. Whereas an EMA, an exponential moving average, it gives more it gives more value, more weighting to the most recent candle. So it's more sensitive. It's more sensitive to price movement. And that's why it makes sense for a short-term moving average. So one of my pet peeves is I've seen people use a 200 EMA. Like, for me, that makes no sense. An EMA, the reason to use an EMA, let's see, it's recommending I change my bit rate on the stream. Whatever. Good connection. Sorry, folks. Yeah. So if the reason to use an exponential moving average is you're looking for more short-term price action. And most people are probably familiar with like the 12 and the 26. They use the 12 and the 26. They look for crossing signals. I like to use the 8 and the 34, and you can look for a crossing signal, and you can look at Bitcoin. And we were watching Bitcoin, and we were looking at signs of strength, and we were buying the dip in the uptrend, and we were observing kind of those moves, from the upper Bollinger to the lower Bollinger, upper to lower Bollinger. We had these 30%, 27, 22, these series of corrections, every time making a high, right? Nice high here, beautiful throwback, bullish retest. It's a bullish retest called a throwback. And I highlight that because that's really important. And this is all going to lead us up to where I am and why I feel the way I do. So we had that high established in January. And we kind of consolidated. You got the diagonal break. Then you started to get that horizontal break. Came up, boom, you broke through. You made a high. You came back. You did that retest. So immediately, now okay, that's a level, right? So, go once this hits, after this, you call it a hammer candle, even though it does have an upper shadow, it is not truly a shaven top. But the lower shadow is at least twice times the real candle body length. So it will qualify as a hammer candle. It's near the lower Bollinger. That's where you want to see a Japanese candlestick signal. You want a reversal candle at the lower Bollinger for the bulls, and then vice versa at the upper Bollinger. So all of that kind of said, okay, this is a pretty nice this is an important level. This kind of price, the interaction with this level, the high, the breakthrough, little bit of a throwback, and then boom, the throwback to that prior high. So you say, okay, this is a level I'm going to watch. All right. So you just kind of put that to the side. Just kind of say, okay, that's going. I've got that figured out. Now I'm moving on. Now we come back, and then we have kind of this little bit of resistance initially. Price drops down, right? It makes the high. Boom, we come up, we make our high in February. We come back below, we come back down. You say, okay, we lost that EMA 8. Remember I was talking about that green line? The green line, right? Often, these short-term exponential moving averages will serve as support on the way up. You can see how the price did find support and use that green line, use that moving average, okay? And then you see little bits of weakness. It broke it here. We get that first kind of the candle wick and that February 22nd candle, and really kind of that close and the 23rd candle. You had some further downside even from that candle close 49 and then down to 42. So you see that little short-term weakness. Now, while that's happening, and I'll get back to what I was building up to here, we'll notice how the green line never crossed the yellow. Bulls rallied. There was so much inherent bullish force. The moving average is all fanned back out, what you want to see, right? You're longer, and I hit the 50 too, the longer, the medium, the EMA 34, the MA 20, the EMA 8, right? It all fanned back out, and that's what you want to see. And then you come back here, a little bit of weakness, right? But the green line didn't cross the yellow. It didn't cross the yellow, and then boom, right here. Right, April 22nd. We had we'll get to this, more to this. We had all sorts of warning signs here, right? So, but we'll get to that in a moment. Because first we had that, the EMA 8, you saw that. And then we had this, so we have this 43K, 42K level. We broke back up above, came back here, right? We found support. And then when we bounced, you'll notice that this was a likely, so if Bitcoin was going to put in the top, here at 57K, traders would be looking for some type of an equilibrium where you have the high, then the low, then a lower high, then a higher low, and then maybe something like this, and then boom. That's what probably a lot of traders were looking at. I'm sure I threw up a chart, maybe looking at that. The reason I make that point is that you can note, you can observe, you can see that right here was established as a price level, the dual rejection, nearly a tweezer top on that 25th kind of dual candle session, right? So where the bounce, that's where the bounce slowed down. You went 45 to 50, 51K. So in the back of your mind, if you're a trader trading the 4-hour, daily chart, whatever you're doing, you see, okay, that's a resistance. So when you caught support here at a logical level on the throwback the bullish retest, the throwback. When you made that bounce, you were looking at this level as the kind of fade the bounce level, because at this point you've witnessed a pretty good breakdown and you're starting to fade there. You're starting to fade there. Okay, so you establish that level, right? And then you come back again and then you break through it and you say, okay, now that's something I want to pay attention to, right? You want to pay attention to as the price establishes horizontal levels. You don't want to waste too much time in diagonals. I can talk about that later. I can talk about that a lot. Everyone has, maybe we'll get to that through, in the process of whatever else we're looking at. But once you broke through that level, you established it as a key level. And why I even mentioned that was that boom throwback. Right there, you see it, right? Made the high, okay, broke above this prior high, came back below, which was bearish in that we were not able to hold up above the February 22nd high, but bulls bounced at a logical level. You had what is called a confluence, a bullish confluence at that point, where you had this key horizontal and that rising MA50 support, that simple moving average, that 50-period moving average, the orange line. Why that orange line matters is you can kind of go back in that price history of Bitcoin. You see, boom, right there, January 28th. And you have all this, after that acceleration, all this consolidation back in August of 20. And then we made this high here at 12K, and we broke through it. And look, ever since then, we haven't, that EMA 50, we just haven't come close to it. All that air between the price and the MA 50 rather. And then boom, right there. Okay. When you have that type of, medium, maybe long-term moving average, the first time you test it, after a while, you're very likely to bounce off of it, especially in kind of a primary or a strong uptrend or a primary trend that's strong. And in this case, it had been quite strong. And you bounced off the 50. You came back, you did it again, nearly here. Nearly hit that 50. Didn't quite hit it because buyers were anxious, okay? People had identified this level, and as the price was dropping, right, you had anxious buyers. They're like, I can't wait. You know what? Boom, they jumped up the bid, and that's where you got that candle with that nice lower shadow. MA50, right? MA50, whoops, April 19th, right? That's a data point. I tweeted it. Other people tweeted it. People who know, people who are watching this and understand, you need to listen to the price. And here's a data point. We're talking about a data point. That's the first close below the MA50 on the daily chart since 8K. All right. So now, okay, so you have that, and, all right, one more thing on this. This close below 50 is in the context of the upthrust or the false bull break after establishing that high in March, breaking through that level, nicely testing it on that April 14th session, but failing to hold it. You've now established an upthrust, a false bull break. So as the price now closes below the MA50 for the first time, you have the upthrust and the MA50 close. That's telling you, maybe time to protect some longs here. Maybe take some profit on my longs. As a chart technician, your job is to identify the trend and then ride the trend, trade with it, not against it, and observe it for signs of weakening. These are all things you need to do. And these were all key signs at the top, right? These are all key signs at that level, okay? So we closed below the MA50, dropped down to 47K. A lot of people were saying, hey, that's the bottom. Now we're going to 100K. But all we did at that point was come up here and establish a lower high, just a lower high. And then from here, once you set this lower high and you see the price rejecting, then okay, the tide has turned, the worm has turned. You've got the high, you've got the lower high, now you've got the low. And now you're looking for, where's my higher low? And here's why diagonals are kind of pointless, because you could start here, but then it falls. Maybe you're drawing it here, and now you're drawing it there. I mean, just forget about it. Focus on horizontal levels. You can see that the bulls were trying to draw the line, clean this up. Bulls are trying to draw a line in the sand here. And that's a clear break. You know, clear break of that level. And on this candle's a long-legged doji, May 13th. It bounced, and that's basically where it rejected. And then you see EMA 8 resistance, right? EMA 8 resistance. You can see kind of the texture. You can see the progression, right? You can see the progression of that top. But MA 50. So why am I bearish? I can't be bullish until we close above the MA 50. Step one. You know, close above the MA 50, I go from bearish to neutral. I cannot be bullish until we are up above the MA 200, this blue line. If you look back in the price history of Bitcoin, you know, when it's below the 200, it tends to consolidate and can go quite lower. Okay, as a definition, a rising MA 200 means the price is in an uptrend. But you really need the price above to confirm that. You have the price below. We need to recapture that MA 200 and all this price consolidation is in the context of, everything is context, in the context of the loss of that key level I pointed out to you, I spent some time on a few minutes ago. In the context of that key level, we're trading below it. We got the bounce, we got the mean reversion, rejection. I had someone ask me today, like, you know, isn't there going to be like a big bounce before or whatever? It's like we just had a huge one, 30K. That's like a 30% bounce. 30K to 41K. We just had a big bounce in this channel. Bear rectangle. After a move down, okay. If we break bullish from this, that's a strong signal because in classical charting, it teaches you even Japanese candlestick theory. The longer you're in a horizontal range, you know, the longer you're in really any type of a consolidation pattern, but you know, in this it's pretty clearly defined, the more significant the break of that range is. So we're definitely at a key pivot point, but we are trading below key levels, below MA50. Any kind of bounce should be faded, and that's why they keep getting faded. You've got a clear lower high progression. You clearly have an absence of bulls in the volume profile. I mean, you don't have any kind of big green candles. You don't have any kind of like a bottom type volume cluster that you would see. You have just kind of a consolidation. I think we probably, like, you got to, what's the most logical, most likely? We basically continue down. You take the height of the rectangle, take your measured move, and it's going to take you wherever your breakdown is. It takes you to like 22K. You know, that's the key level. And it also corresponds with the prior all-time high, the big level, right? The 20K, the December, you know, the December 17, 18 level. So then you potentially might have another throwback or a bullish retest to a level of quite a bit of significance, right? I think if we get down here, it would be, in my opinion, a high confidence long. All right. Bulls, okay, now we're in the weekly chart. While I'm here, bulls still do have the weekly MA50. So we can also observe on this longer time frame, we have not only the MA50 support, the EMA 8 resistance. We can observe during the acceleration phase really how nicely this moving average served as support. It's flipped below. It often does become resistance after it's flipped. So we'll see what's, on a weekly time frame, if you want to step back, and that often is the best thing to do, that would be what I would watch. So that's kind of my thesis. That's where I am on Bitcoin. I guess I'll just do Ethereum, and then I'm going to go right to the chat room because I've just been talking for quite a while. So Ethereum has been stronger, than Bitcoin, and I think it looks like that's about to change, because if you look at the, let's see, ETH BTC pair, we have what's called a descending triangle forming, and it's also called a shortfall. So you look for, this is a classical thing in classical charting. You have the high upper channel, the bottom, the flat horizontal support, and the descending hypotenuse, or the falling trend line. That's a descending triangle. But you see how the price didn't make it all the way up to the trend line, right? Didn't make it all the way up to that level. It's like over anxious bears at that point. So that's it's a little bit of potentially an early clue. It could very easily be invalidated. But it very much looks like a descending triangle with potential shortfall. So that's like an early bear signal that I'm watching. And that kind of corresponds with my general read of the overall weakness of the market. We are looking at, Ethereum. I think really simply just look at that MA50. That's the resistance on the bounce. You see right here. You see with that doji and really several sessions, you can see how the price stalled at that MA50. So what you can do right now is you can say, okay, I see the MA200 support. I see the MA50 resistance. I'm going to say to myself, how can I structure a trade? What is it? A lot of people wonder, how would you structure a trade? You could say, well, I've identified the price. The price has identified this as a level of significance, that 2400 level. And it said, okay, that's where I'm slowing down. That's where the bounce potentially might be stalling. So I'm going to identify that and say that's a level that if it is flipped, I can potentially initiate a long and with a pretty close stop loss, right? Because you want to think about your stop loss. Your stop loss is the thesis. It's the whole reason you're trading. It's why you're in a trade. It's because of because of your thesis. And the thesis in this case would be the recapture of the MA50 and the recapture of this horizontal. So you say, okay, Ethereum back over 2420, I'm really paying attention. I'm certainly considering taking a long, and then I would be identifying this as kind of a target area for profit, something around that 27 to 2800 level. But in the meantime, bears, I think, are preparing to push this lower, and I think potentially we're potentially setting up for a violation of this MA200. So, given that you've got the MA50 resistance and given that the price is below the 50 and we saw the ETH BTC pair in that descending triangle, that is my opinion on Ethereum. Let's go to the chat room. It's been a while. All right, catching up to chat room. Let's see. Waiting, blah, blah, blah. What's up, Cheds? Good evening. How you doing? So, Bajo, no, I wear a mask. It's for privacy. I'm not going to reveal myself. My privacy is more important than, I'm not interested in fame, although obviously I do have an ego. I like interacting with you. I like being useful. I like the give and take. But privacy is super important to me. You could offer me $10 million. I'd say it's not worth it. My privacy is the most important thing to me. Let's see. Hey, Jay says, nice surprise. How you doing? Bias says, if I need a DJ for your trades, thanks, buddy. What's up, Rich? Chedley Deadly, Oz. Bear, what's up? What's poppin'? Jolene. Ren, Matt. I see Paul. Thanks, Paul. I think that's Bat Daddy of 3, Paul Garrett. What's up, man? Appreciate that. TJ, I'm just catching up in the chat room, folks. And then we'll go right into your requests. I'm pretty sure you guys want to see, I know a lot of the main ones, so I can probably fire those off. Let's see. Okay, real quick. Bajo asks thoughts on the BTC 1H. I'll take a quick look at the BTC 1H. The BTC 1H. So look and see the MA200 is rejecting it. It's hard to extrapolate too much on a 1 hour chart because you want to remember the shorter the time frame, the weaker the signal. But you do see evidence kind of a horizontal setting up here. And what I mean by that is a level that is serving as a potential support resistance flip level, the rejection, the support. So, if you're long off the retest of this zone or even maybe the violation of the zone, because sometimes you go long on a violation of a support because often the best runs come after, someone gets liquidated. So you see like a bottom, price bounces, and those traders who entered there set their stop loss at that level. And then maybe you have some time, right? You have peak and trough and peak. And you come up, you have time interval, making it a true double bottom, but you come below, right? Sometimes you often get that stop loss sweep and then it bounces. So, sometimes people might enter on a break of support. If they did that, now their stop loss is back at this level. I mean, the thesis is for bulls is they're flipping this into support and trying to kind of do like just a stair step. Turning this resistance potentially into support. We'll see if that happens. But you kind of step out to larger time frames. The 1 hour, I wouldn't really look at that too much. I'd be looking at the 4 hour MA200, the blue line. That has been a level of significance for Bitcoin. We go back quite a bit. How it been support. It was support, right? Boom, support, dip, temporary dip, support, below resistance, below, churn, 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 unable to hold it, back below, hold it, nope, hold it, nope. So we're watching that. So that's what I would kind of watch on a shorter time frame rather than the 1 hour. Hey, Dizzo, what's up, Cheek? Andrew, oh, thanks, said he downloaded my book. Please let me know how it goes. Okay, so Mohit says, talk about DOT and ETH. I did DOT, ETH. Let's go to DOT. So, I mean, what jumps out to me first is the pinch, Bollinger pinch, right? You can see the Bollinger Bands getting really tight. These Bollinger Bands, they react to volatility. And when there's a lot of volatility, you take this price movement here, for example, and 72% move. Look what happened. Look what happened to the Bollinger Bands. They widened. They get tighter, and you have what is called the Bollinger Band pinch or squeeze. John Bollinger is actually on Twitter. Go follow him. Guy's a legend. Take advantage of the resources out there. So you got that Bollinger Band. When they get tight, you're thinking volatility is coming soon. We had that here, but look how tight these are, crazy tight. And it's so tight because the price has been traveling in such a tight range. And it's kind of been setting up for a potential long on the break of this level. So you had several sessions in a row, right? Early, mid-June, you had several sessions. I'm just going to retweet on Twitter that I'm live, just in case people. Okay, boom. So you had to call all these sessions where the price was rejected. So you could say that's how you would structure a long. You'd say, okay, if we break above this level, I'm going to go long. If you did that, your stop loss should have already triggered because you came back below, right? So that's another point I want to make. And so, when you enter a trade, like if the reason you're in the trade fails, like get out. The sooner you do that, the better. I just had a bunch of big losses on some equity stuff. Made some mistakes, and I think if I cut them sooner, it wouldn't have been as big a deal. So don't be stubborn. It's hard. Even I'm doing it, right? But I'll still tell you, the moment you realize you made a mistake, end the trade, move on. And you can be, what does that mean? Well, specifically that means the reason you would have entered this long on, July 7th would have been kind of the break above that $17 level. But as soon as you came back below, maybe, say you go long in a break of 17, you set your stop loss at, 1675 or 1683, whatever it is, you have it because that means your trade idea has failed. The trade idea failed, and we're back in this tight range. So it's just a tight range. I'm going to kind of step back, take a look at my indicators here. I most of the time I don't even look at them unless I want a little more information, and that brings me to the point that you do not want to be your trade idea should not come from your indicators. Just because your RSI, which is a bounded oscillator, which means that it's a fixed limit, just because it's oversold, it doesn't mean it's time to bounce. Just because it's overbought, it doesn't mean it's time to sell. The only way, think about it this way, right? The only way to have an RSI 85 is to be really bullish. And you want to be long in something that's really bullish, all right? So don't lead with your indicators. Only reason I look at them now is I'm looking to see if this on-balance volume is confirming the downtrend, which it is. And I'm just kind of looking at the RSI. I use RSI for continuation divergence, right? Not reversal, because it's a bounded oscillator. You get a lot of false bullish divergence or bearish divergence. I use the OBV, which is it's just a tally. It adds up the buy and sell volume, and it shows you the trend, the strength of the trend. So here it's okay, that's weak. You can see it's weak. I don't know what it's going to do, but trends tend to continue. We have a Bollinger pinch with the price below the MA200 bearish, below the MA50 bearish, below all these moving averages, kind of hovering right near the bottom, near support. And without looking at that OBV, I can observe the red volume having the edge in this volume profile, in this kind of volume cluster, if you will. You could even make an argument for a descending triangle here as well, where you kind of have that type of action. You have kind of the falling resistance and the flat support. I don't know, DOT, you think about the concept of relative strength, and DOT had been really, really, really bullish, but it broke down earlier than Uni. It broke down earlier than Sol. Some stuff like ADA still hasn't broken down. So DOT was hot, but it clearly does not have the mojo. So we need to see it back up above the MA50. Should it bounce, we have very clearly defined levels to watch for resistance, the lows, February, April, and the highs of that June bounce. Continuing on to the chat room. Luke Russell says, opinion on the head and shoulders and rising wedge in Bitcoin. Head and shoulders rising wedge. What rising wedge? So a lot of people want to think that this is a head and shoulders, like this larger thing. I don't really see it as that. Even though I'm bearish, I just see the bear rectangle. Like the volume doesn't make sense. You have too much volume over here on the right for it to be a head and shoulders. So I'm really not viewing this as the head and shoulders. We had a head and shoulders top up here that already met, head and shoulders complex with wide left, narrow right shoulder, either an ascending or horizontal neck base. You met your measured move already, the height of the head. So that already played out. Rising wedge. Some people a lot of people do this. I've seen they post charts on Twitter, and it's when I look at the chart, I'm looking at this. Okay. Then I see them in the chart, and it's this is what I see. They're like, all right, we're going to the moon, or we're whatever, or we're bearish, we're bullish. I see all these images posted. It's I can't make anything of that. There's no context. Everything is context. You can't look at a daily chart and only see 12 candles. There's nothing. There's nothing there. That's worse. That's worse than no information because it's potentially misleading or it's bad information, right? That everything is context. Right? Well, I mentioned earlier about Japanese candlestick signals. You want a bullish reversal candle at the lower Bollinger. That's the context. You want volume on that candle. That's the context. Let's continue on. Please talk about DOT. I did that, EPH. Hey, Scott Atkinson. Hey, Ched. Start reading your book. Thanks. Dan Bolin says, what's up? Hawbarrow, what's up? Did DOT and ETH. Link. Okay, Andrew. And I'm just going down the chat room. I'm going to go until I run out of mojo here. But I want to get a good number of these done for you. Just as a reminder, please hit subscribe if you're watching. If you don't, I'm trying to put a little bit of effort into my YouTube channel, and definitely check out the free video series for my book. Link. So Link, I'm bearish on Link. I think we're heading lower. I think you can, it shouldn't be too hard to see why I'm bearish on Link. You see the lower highs, the flat low, that descending triangle, price below the MA200. That was a really, really nice short signal right there. And that June 15th candle. See that rejection on the underside? That's called a pullback. It's a bearish retest. So, just for terminology, a lot of people use the phrase back test. It's not a back test. Back test is having to do with running a historical data set against some type of an automated trading strategy. There are two types of retests. There's the throwback or the pullback, right? It was a pullback to the MA200, right? A bearish retest, an underside test. If you see me on Twitter, I'll tweet out things like, MA50 underside tag. It basically means that the price has rallied and is testing that MA50 from underneath. And I'm almost kind of inherently giving you not a signal, but I'm saying keep an eye out for a potential, a pivot or a price change here, because those are likely shorting or likely long spots depending on kind of the context and, whether it's a bullish or a bearish retest. And you want, that's what the concept that you want to trade with the trend. So if the price is going down, you want to sell the bounces, right? Because the natural gravity is with you. Same with in an uptrend, you want to buy the dips because you're going with the momentum. All right, keep that in mind. So I'm bearish on Link. You can see why it looks like it wants to go lower. But whatever. I'd love to be wrong, and I have some Link. I don't have a lot, but I have some Link just because I think it's one of the it's reasonable. I think it's reasonable to have some Link. I have some Link. So if it goes up, fine. But like, I still think it's bearish. You're trading below 200, trading below the 50. We need to be above these moving averages to even start talking about being bullish. I personally think we see a flush. If Bitcoin flushes the way I think it may, I'd be looking to accumulate, just below $10. You'd want to think about a level that really scares people. And you break $10, you break that psychological level of 10. That's why maybe even Bitcoin breaks 20K and goes to 18K or even 14K really quickly. And you scare people. Like, it's going to need to shake people out. And you may see like a sub 10 dip. That would be, I think, a nice risk reward. So that's what I would be looking for on Link. But right now, if you're not in it, I wouldn't do anything. I think if you want to think about how to structure a long, you could potentially play the recapture of that lower high, that shooting star candle July 7th. But you have a pretty clear interpretation of a bear flag here as well. And you kind of, you don't want to be playing that bounce into moving average resistance. So I would probably wait to break the MA50. Let's see, Link, I did that. Dave C., thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Ciao, Cheds. Ciao, Mario Presser. I'm just going down the chat room, folks. I'll get to you eventually. So, Miss Candahion. Curious how long you think the bear market will go. So, I don't know. Like, that's the thing. I don't like to do that. What's the price going to be? Quarter 4 of 2023. Like, the further you go out, the more garbage your prediction is. And if you're going out more than like a week, 2 weeks, it's probably a garbage prediction. I don't like to do that. I want data. Technical analysis is a study of historical data. It's not so much looking out, but it is about identifying the trend, and it is about identifying ways the trend could strengthen or weaken, ideally based on key price levels that are either recaptured, respected, stuff like that. So I don't know how long a bear market. I mean, it just depends what happens. We could bust up from here and break above 200 and then forget about it. But I don't know. I think we need more. I think we need more downside. It doesn't make sense to me to bounce yet. I don't think there's been enough of a washout. I think we need to really test the longs. I think you really have to scare the long-term holders. It's just always how it happens. It's the cycle. I don't know. That's what I think. Matic, Jay. Okay. I have Matic in here somewhere. Let's see. Matic. Not in this watch list, huh? All right. I thought I did. Now, Matic has been really strong. Just off the top of my head. Let's go there, maybe. Just off the top of my head. Boom. There it is. I know it's been pretty strong. I probably can find one with a little more price history, but it won't matter so much. Really what we're observing is that key price level right around 89.90 cents or dollar. I'll show you what I mean. It's stronger because it's still trading above the MA200, which is different than Bitcoin for sure. Nope. Sorry, folks. I promise you I will get you what I am trying to get. Let's try it that way. There we go. All right. So look at that. So we have what's called relative strength. Matic has been relatively strong, trading above the MA200. Just a very recent break of the MA50. So in that sense, it's stronger in terms of its relative strength to the rest of what we looked at. I think it's heading towards a pretty clear decision point or pivot point, and we can see it right at that $1 level. It would make sense. It's a psychological level as well. So, you'll know because you're going to start to close back above the MA20. You can just see the rejection. It's pretty clearly defined. That's going to be your pivot point. And then I would probably wait and want to see the price right there. Above 124, 125, I think you're probably safe to look at a long as you use that area as your stop loss. Let's see. Matic's done. Mariella. Hi, Cheds. Thank you. Thanks to you. What's up, Arturo? Dave, Cripzilla, Bajo. I do use 8 EMA. I have for a long time, several years now. And it works. That's why I use it. try it. I mean, just try it. Trust me. Any kind of strong uptrend will respect it. SMA, how about using a 200 SMA, Hikolas? Yes, 200 SMA is a simple moving average. That's what this is. For the 200, it should be an SMA, which is the same as an MA. It should not be an EMA. An exponential moving average is one that adds more price weighting to the most recent candle. That's for short-term moving averages like the 8 and the 34, which I have here. I kind of went at length on that earlier in the video. Hey, Jewel, I should have slept already, but I did want to miss this. Well, I really appreciate that. I love it's a good team. I have fun, if I'm doing what I do, so thank you. Fabian, you're burning my eyes with the light mode. Sorry, brother. Chona says Target, sir. Walmart is my answer. No Target. XRP price prediction on relist. What does that mean? Relist, like everyone loves it again? I don't know what to say to that. I mean, I don't think about that. Like, what relist? Like, something either happens or it doesn't, and it will be factored into the price. Right now, you're trading below the MA200. You have the price initially respecting it, and then respecting it, and now respecting it from the underside. You have the underside tag, or the pullback, or the bearish retest, and also look at that price pinned down by the MA20. So you can see what bulls are going to have to do to flip that one around. It's currently bearish. We're trading below a key horizontal. This was a likely level to bounce from, kind of like right here, and it looks like it's failing right now. I would probably be waiting till around 35 cents. If you're not in it right now, I'd probably wait till around 35 and look for some value. Let's see. What's up, Glenn? Yang Sui, how's it going? Ruben, hey, thanks for your perspective. Thank you for watching. Let's see. Wow, there's way more chats than I thought. Trying to get through these. Let's see. I do have a super chat. Fabian, I didn't expect that. Yeah, he wants to know is this like a thing? BLX? WM? I don't know what you're asking me to. BLX? Brave new coin? Can you please confirm that's what you're asking me about? Fabian Klaus, he wants to know, what about the Bitcoin coin BLX bottom in? I'm not sure I'm looking at what you want me to look at. So Fabian, if you could just confirm what you are asking me for, we'll get to that. Let's kind of scroll back up. I did link. Hey, Matt. Hey, Brad. Soul. So I mentioned Soul. Let's do some Soul as well. I know some folks are in that one. Boom, right there. So Soul has been really strong, obviously. It's been quite strong. And, we had talked about the MA50 for a lot of these. We talked about it for Bitcoin being kind of the key pivot level. And we have been talking about how that's a level that a lot of these will need to recapture if they're going to kind of continue back up. So I think right now, Soul is just below it. And we have, we were observing, I was looking at that and watching how it was rejected there, and now we got back above it, unable to hold it. And then look at that. Look at these at 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 sessions, right? You want to listen to the price, okay? And another thing, you don't want to just keep changing your moving average, okay? Like if you don't want to use the 50, totally cool. You can use a 40. Some people use the I think 62, or they use like a 31. Whatever it is, like just use that one, and then let that form your analysis. You do not want to get in the position of going around and changing your moving average to suit like whatever you want it to be, right? I just use the 50. A lot of people use the 50, and the price is telling us it's the 50. Like there's no two ways about it. Boom, 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 boom. Look where the price is rejected. Now we have, based on that thesis, we have a little bit of a potential upthrust, right? Kind of a false break of that $36 level. But like the thing with Soul is it still looks pretty strong. And if the market flips bullish, Soul would be one that I would want to trade. I'd want to be in, right? You want to understand the concept of relative strength. And oftentimes the market will move in unison. So like I said, when we're, if there's some kind of a bounce, you'd want to play Sol rather than like a weaker one. So watch MA50. You can draw a diagonal if you want. I mean, that's fine, but maybe you'll have to adjust it, right? But you kind of see you got a little bit of a diagonal as well. The lower high structure. But watch that MA50. If you can get back up above the MA50, it could get kind of interesting, and then you could use a break of that $38 level to structure your long. YFI by Mario. Okay, YFI USD. Let's take a quick look at that one. It had been really strong for quite a while. Did I just let's go back to it. YFI right there at the bottom, 33,000. Wow, basically right at Bitcoin's price, more or less. So this had been a overperformer, but look at that MA 200 rejection rejected there. And it's got a very similar structure to the rest of the market. Whoever asked for this, Mario. Hey, Mario. I think I recognize your name too. So you kind of still got that descending triangle type action with the MA 200 rejection. So like this, if you look at this, you think, okay, this is bearish. So I don't know. Like if you're gonna play this, you're gonna have to wait to get back up above the 200. And if you want, sure, you can attempt to long kind of the retest of these lower shadows. Make sure to manage your risk properly. Someone asked me about ADA. Will ADA break down? Will ADA break down? I mean, will it? I mean, I don't know. I'd say probably not. ADA's been strong. And I look at this chart, I don't really see a big breakdown yet. And you think about everything that Bitcoin has been through. This is still trading above the MA 200 and above the key horizontal. This is a very well-established level at $1. This has been almost a perennial or eternal. There's a word I'm trying to perpetual. It's been like a perpetual buy the dip zone. So you can almost just like place your bids here at $1, even as the price was bouncing. 150, boom, $1. 150, boom, 150, boom, right? Boom. So you can kind of see how this is trading. Lower channel, mid channel 150, and then kind of that breakout right around $2. It's still relatively strong. I don't think you do anything with it unless it's back at probably the MA 200, and below that, definitely at $1. I would probably try to go long on that one. Christophe Renaudin, thank you. Appreciate your compliment. And appreciate all of you folks watching. Brad, hope that was good for Sol. I did Luna. Okay. Let's get Luna requested by Carol P. I'm sure I have it. There we go. So Luna, look at that. So it's like it wants to get bullish, but look at that. MA 200 rejection. MA 200 rejection. You still have quite a bit of strength. On balance volume is evidence of kind of the more volume on the green than red candles. But we are, we're below the MA 200, but you did recapture the MA 50. This looks better than most of the ones, right? Not as good as Matic or Sol, but we have recaptured these first three moving averages. We do have a pretty good pocket of support. You can see there at the lows of February, we also do have resistance. So we're going to observe that. We're going to be wide-eyed. We're not going to be too surprised when the price needs to kind of churn and reject here back at that $8 level. What we need to see now is some type of a higher low. That higher low, logically speaking, you'd want to see it right about that level, right around $7, where the price had initially rejected. And it's rejected, right? And then rejected, and then boom, consolidated. If you reject here again, that would be a logical level. So you'd watch that, then watch for a breakout, and then MA 200. Okay, let me just see here. Fabian, BLX is Bitcoin charted to the money supply. Okay, I mean, I can try. I'm not like usually great with all the, let me try WM2NS, and I'll go to all, see if it works. Will this work? All right, this is what my man Fabian. Okay, Fabian. Okay, brother man. So hopefully it's what you're looking for. And I'll look at theta, MC, no problem. So theta, yeah, I mean, this BLX, you've got kind of the, looks like Bitcoin, really. You've just got kind of a bear channel after the move down. It really just looks like the Bitcoin chart. I don't know what too much to say. I mean, it's really almost identical in that you're consolidating in a kind of a rectangle pattern below the MA200, below the MA50, and below the MA34. Tony, I mentioned it before. I wear my mask for privacy. I enjoy interacting with you, but privacy is extremely important to me. So this is a nice way for me to still show you some of my personality, but privacy is important to me. That's why I wear a mask. Fabian, does that make sense? We touched the all-time high from 2018, he says. Okay. Right, the 2017, 2018 high, right? That's similar to that 20K level. So I think if this is what you're looking at, I mean, it really looks just like Bitcoin, but I see what you mean. That is interesting. So you're saying, okay, let's go like a weekly. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. I think I actually saw some YouTuber talking about this. So yeah, sure, relative to money supply. And that's a really interesting way to look at it, Fabian. But this isn't like what people are trading either. It's definitely interesting, and I'm not going to just ignore that. But the chart, the actual Bitcoin chart, is a reflection of the historical transactions, and based on that, we have an idea of where the supply and the demand levels lie. And, clearly, the difference on this chart is we have that pocket. You have that big pocket from, 30K down to 20K. There's just not a lot. There's just not a lot in here. So, if and when we break below 30K on what, potentially the spring fails and we get below 30K again, we're probably looking at that low 20K. So I can't, I'll look at that money supply chart. It's interesting, but I can't ignore that big pocket, that big gap. All right. And thank you, Tony, and thank you for asking, and thank you for respecting that. Let's take a look at theta. Someone had requested theta. I'm happy to do that one as well. Theta has been relatively strong, but even this, in that the slow bleed that we've had, it's starting to lose the MA200. We see the very clearly defined lower high structure in theta. In this type of situation, you really start to look over here at the left. You're looking for key horizontal levels. You're looking for where would make sense. Where would it make sense for the price to stop bleeding? I would take this high. I'd like to draw left from right. I'd take that high and then go right there. So I can see that this is an important level right around that $384 area. I would do nothing with it right now unless it dropped down to like that $4 level. And thank you, Fabian, by the way. So unless it dropped down to that $4 level. So that's kind of how I would proceed with theta. If you get back up above 10, I think you're definitely looking at a $15 test, but we're quite a long ways from that. I did cover DOT. Tony, you can scroll back and check that out. Maybe get one or two more, and I'm running out of steam a little bit, but we have Dent that was requested. Dent, and I also see you, Matt. We'll take care of that as well. So here we go for Dent, USDT. I mean, it's a Bollinger pinch. Bollingers are tight. That suggests that you're going to have some volatility soon. You do have the price trading below the MA200, trading below all these moving averages. I'd say it looks okay, but I mean, it looks okay in that it's not. It's only a little bit bearish. Okay, it's still bearish, unfortunately. You're below moving averages, MA20 resistance, right below the, below the MA200. I would kind of look back here. You see where the price initially found support at 0.0018. Definitely want to see that hold. If you're a bull, I'd be watching for. Look at that brown line, MA20. Look at that. Look at that rejection, right? That is just dead on. So you can look for, like I said earlier, as a chart technician, your job is you want to look for signs of that trend weakening. And the sign of this bear trend weakening would be regaining that MA20. Okay. Would be gaining that MA20. And I said Algo BTC for Matt. Let's take a look at that. Appreciate you folks watching the stream, by the way. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Cheds Trading on Twitter. Algo BTC. So really, Algo BTC is just a measure of Algo versus Bitcoin. And this is, it's kind of going sideways, but with drifting down. So generally, this is telling me that Algo is underperforming Bitcoin, given kind of the trend, the direction of this MA200. It's trying to bounce. It put in that low back in December, so it's been rallying against versus Bitcoin. But we see these rejections. It's not making too much headway yet. If this is your pair, I think that's a big level to watch, right around 2,200 Satoshi. I think bulls definitely want to hold that. You've got really around 3,000, 3,400. I would really start to pay a little bit more attention for bulls if they're above 3,400. In the middle here, you're just going to have a lot of chop. That's the thing. You want to identify a key level that you can kind of execute a signal on. In that area, you definitely have a lot of chop. I'm going to do one last request. Miss Katina says, appreciate your thoughtful analysis. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I'll do one last one, and then I'll wrap it up. Let's see. Nope, that's probably not what you're looking for. See a coin. Let's do that. Do I have it in here or do I not? Let's go try it again. See a coin. There we go. Take a look at SIA coin. The first thing I look at is MA200, the blue line. We're trading below that. It's trying to bounce as opposed to that last one we were looking at with the MA20. This one's getting above the MA20 a little bit. And you're back below. So this is good. You do have a low established. You have your low established, and then you violate the low. When you come back up above, it seems to be respecting it. So you really want to watch that 0.0117 area. I wouldn't be looking to go long here, but if you break up above, say, be like 021-ish, might get me interested. Just to remind everyone, and I'm going to wrap up at the end on Bitcoin. You can find me. I'm on Twitter at Big Cheds. I appreciate your feedback, and I enjoy talking with you folks. Check out my book, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. 1/3 trading psychology, 1/3 risk management, 1/3 technical analysis. Great feedback. The reviews are great. I also highlight the bad reviews. Some people, they wish there was pictures. I make it really simple, really easy to digest. That's why people enjoy it. I have a free video series for the book on YouTube under Cheds Trading. So definitely check that out, and make sure to follow me on YouTube. I have my first book. I am a cancer survivor. I published on Amazon my memoir on fighting cancer and being a caregiver. I want to give out the book for free. If you know someone who needs it, who has a family member, a friend, or they themselves are either a patient or a caregiver, find a way to get me your email, on Twitter or in the comments. I want to send you the book. So I think it can help people. I'd like to get it out there. So just let me know. And of course, if you enjoy this video, if you like my approach and you want to learn more, I definitely recommend you check out Bitcoin Live, where I'm a founding analyst, and it's the best-in-class educational platform for crypto. Really proud of my involvement, and we have a great team and great members too, by the way. Just to wrap things up on Bitcoin, we're at 33.6 right now. For me, it's bearish because we are trading below the key support resistance flip level. This is a quick recap. I encourage you to go back, watch the beginning. We're trading below the key resistance flip level. We're trading below the MA50, trading below the MA200. And we're in a rectangle following a move down. So, trends tend to continue. Most likely this is a bear rectangle with a measured move somewhere around low 20K. If we get down to low 20K, you get that throwback to that late 2018 high. That would be a high confidence long. So kind of keep an eye out for that. But, it's bearish, but how will we know? How will we know if it's going to start to get bullish? Watch for a close above the orange line, the MA50. At the top, when everything was going crazy, XVG, TRX, XRP, everything was nuts. Right around here, we have that MA50, April 19th, first close below the MA50. All right. That was the first time. This is at 56K. Now, signal didn't get you the exact top. Okay. It's much more important to correctly identify the trend than to nail the exact top or bottom. Like, you can't. There is no nailing the top or bottom. There is only correctly identifying the trend and riding the trend. And this is a great signal at 56K. It wasn't at 63, but it was at 56K. First close below MA50 since the 8K area. If we start to close back up above it, I would probably shift from bearish to neutral. But until then, I'm going to be bearish. Until proven otherwise. So, thank you for watching. It's been a lot of fun. I probably won't do many of these because I like to save my mojo for my Bitcoin live videos. So I may only do this once every 6 weeks or so, but we'll see. And just to let you know, I have another video on my trading series. The free version of my book will come out next week. So definitely check that out. Until then, we'll talk again soon, and I hope everyone is doing well, and thank you for watching. Talk to you later. Big Cheds out.